Jan Lamb is known as the angel of the Underworld. A friend of the chaps, she never tells their secrets. Now, for the first time, she talks about her relationship with crime legends, the Krays.
Both were really nice in their own ways. Ron was more a giver. I've seen him give watches and things to people, you know, in Broadmoor, where Reg was a taker. Reg was always ready to take, and he'd have took the shirt off your back and left you without, whereas Ron would have gave you the shirt off his back. So yeah, they were quite different. Ron were lovely. He weren't as crazy as what people said. I didn't think so. He knew everything that was going on. He'd sit there watching everybody, you know, everybody's move and everything.
Did he ever talk about, you know, his past and all the shootings of Cornell and people like that?
No, we never spoke about things like that, because that was just like, you know, their work.
Jan's relationship with the twins almost became fatal on one of her visits to Reg.
I didn't know at the time, but there'd been some disagreement with Reg and somebody else in there, and I'd been in to see him. Came out after the visit, just got on the M1, and the bonnet just, there was this bang, and the bonnet just flew just right off. I don't know how. I got onto the hard shoulder, and the cops and that all turned up, took the car away to check it out and everything. They said that it'd been just some small explosive or something, I can't remember what it was now, but they said it was just enough to frighten me, you know, not enough to do any harm. It turned out that it was this guy that Reg had had a disagreement with. He had got someone to do this to the mob while I was in Reg, to get at Reg. Then the next thing I heard after that was a pan of hot oil had accidentally fell on this guy, and he ended up in hospital. He always had some project on the go, or he always said he had a project on the go. And if you put such and such an amount in, you'll have 3 times that back in a month, and people would fall for it. I did. Stupid, I know, because I should have known better.
Jan and Reg had become closer. He used to call her almost every day, and in 1996 he finally proposed to her after another prison visit.
He phoned me up from Maidstone prison, and he said, right, he says, get onto the press and everything. He says, tell them we're getting married. And I says, oh right, yeah. I says, so who are you getting married to, Reg? He says, because, you know, they're going to ask that, who she is, where she lives and things like that. Oh, we're getting married. He said, and of course they were talking about him and I says, well, we're not getting married, Reg. I says, you know, I says, thanks. I says, you know, I says, I've got a lot of respect for you and that. I says, but I says, I know you too well. I says, I couldn't marry you. I says, we're close friends. And we always have been and we always will be. I says, but no, I says, I couldn't marry you. You know, which I couldn't have done. It just wouldn't have been right.
Jan also had a great friendship with Ron and Reg's older brother, Charlie.
If you got a party and Charlie put them together, and that was him. He was happy partying and enjoying himself and seeing others enjoying themselves.
Jan is convinced that Charlie was innocent of the drugs charge that ultimately killed him.
They didn't find anything at the flat, so, you know, as Charlie said on a letter to me, he says if his name was Joe Smith or whatever, he says that, you know, it would never have happened. But because he was a Kray. But when Ron died, it was bad enough, you know, but to lose his other brother as well, and the oldest brother, I don't know, he just seemed to give up. It was like he had nothing left then. It wasn't the funeral that he wanted. It wasn't like Ron's. And Reg wanted a funeral like Ron's. which he should have had. And most of our chaps didn't go. If they, like ones that did go, they sat in the cars. They just, you know, they wouldn't actually go into the undertakers or anything.
Jan went to see Reg a few days after Ron's funeral, and he told her that he could feel Ron's hand on his back, and he knew Ron was there with him. In 2000, Reg passed away too, the last of the infamous Cray brothers to die. Jan waited outside the funeral parlour to pay her last respects to her close friend. She wasn't the only woman saying goodbye. There was also Reg's wife, Roberta.
She didn't want any of us there, and like, some of them should have been the pallbearers, and instead of that, she just changed it all completely. To me, they'd done what they thought they had to do, and they'd done it to their own kind. They didn't harm anyone, you know, out with the circle sort of thing. They only harmed people like themselves. I mean, I don't agree with the killings and things, but they've done it, and there's nothing that we can do about that.
Jan had a book of poems published in 1995. One of the poems was called Their Way, which she dedicated to the Crays.
They were the leaders in their day and got things done in their way. People and things they kept in order, from their home and across the border. Look at things and the people now. You cannot honestly tell us how. People who have done worse than them get off with being away for 10. Now Ron is gone, he is free at last. He more than paid for the past. Let Reg go, let him be free. The world outside, let him again see.